They tell you history is written by the victors, a child's tale. No, my dear, history is erased by the victors, and the deepest cuts are reserved for the queens. I have stood here in these very chambers through seasons of blood and silk, for centuries uncounted. Not merely hearing the whispers, but feeling the tremors of empires crumble, of names vanish like smoke. This pillar, my silent confidant, has absorbed more untold truths than any scroll in the imperial archives. We begin with the primal shock. A queen whose very existence became an inconvenience, a threat to a bloodline, a stain on a coveted throne. A woman whose breath, whose mere memory, dared to challenge the purity of a dynasty. What profound terror must she have inspired for her name to be struck from decrees, her face blurred from frescoes, her very shadow banished from the annals. The motive for such erasure is often chillingly simple: power, absolute, unyielding power. To secure a succession, to legitimize a new alliance, to bury a scandal too profound for the light of history. This is not merely omission, it is an act of violence, a deliberate unmaking. Think of it: to be alive, to exert influence, to birth heirs, and then to be unwritten, to have lived but to have never been. I have witnessed the whispers turn to screams, then to a deafening silence, a silence far heavier than any cry for justice. It is the silence of absence, of a void deliberately carved into the fabric of time. A chilling testament to how fragile a queen's legacy truly is, how easily a life, a reign, an entire narrative can be swallowed by the hungry shadows of a court, by the cold ambition of those who rewrite the past to control the future. This is the ultimate betrayal, not just of a woman, but of truth itself. Feel the weight of that unwritten history, feel the dread, lean closer. For what I speak now was never meant for mortal ears. A whisper carried on the very currents of air that stir these heavy palace drapes. A secret so meticulously guarded, it might as well be buried in the deepest crypts of the earth. Nobody was supposed to hear this. In these gilded cages, where power is forged in bloodline and secured with betrayal, the stakes are impossibly high. A sudden shift in favor, a new decree, an unexpected pregnancy, and the fragile balance of a dynasty can shatter. It is in these moments of swift, ruthless maneuvering that the deadliest weapon is often not the dagger's edge, nor the open challenge. Oh no, often it is the quill, the poisoned ink that writes a woman out of existence, leaving her a ghost, a forgotten name in the grand tapestry of history. Have you ever considered the profound silence that follows such an act? Not the silence of death, which offers a definitive end, but the chilling void where a life once stood, systematically erased. This is the art of undoing, precise and ruthless. It is not forgetting, it is a surgical removal. Picture this: a chamber lit by a single flickering lamp, casting long, dancing shadows. A scroll marked "Lost," its wax seal cracked with deliberate force, not broken by accident, but violated. Within, a decree of succession, once bearing a queen's name, now barren, her legacy peeled away like old skin. The truth meticulously hidden, then violently exposed, only to be buried anew beneath layers of official falsehood. Or a venerable chronicle bound in leather as old as the mountains, pages brittle with age. And there, a specific passage detailing a queen's triumph, a strategic alliance she forged, her voice in the political landscape, physically excised. Not crossed out, not amended, removed. A jagged tear, a gaping wound in the very fabric of history, leaving only the shadow of what once was. A life, a reign, rendered invisible, as if her very existence was an inconvenient truth. But the most profound violation, perhaps, is against the very notion of truth itself. A birth record, that sacred testament to a bloodline's continuation, to a royal claim. Imagine it, a date subtly altered. A name, once clear and proud, now smeared, overwritten with another's, or worse, an entire entry, a life, a future, simply gone, vanished from the annals, as if the child, the queen who bore her, never existed. The foundational lie, cast in permanent ink. These are the silent wars, fought with ink and parchment, orchestrated often by hands draped in the finest silk. A rival queen, a threatened male heir, a mother-in-law whose own dynasty hangs by a thread, or perhaps a grand vizier securing his own position. They do not wield swords, they wield influence, command the scribes, bribe the archivists, whisper the fatal suggestions into the ear of power. This, you see, is the ultimate betrayal, not of trust but of existence itself. The terror? It is not merely death which offers a definitive end. It is the undoing of your very being, piece by agonizing piece. To be denied a name, a place, a memory. To be swallowed by the shadows, leaving no trace, no whisper for future generations. To become the deepest, most absolute silence. A chilling, permanent void. And what of those who carry out these acts? The fear in their eyes, the knowing glance, for they understand the terrible power of the pen, for they know the price of such forbidden knowledge, and now, so do you. You imagine the past simply fades, like a distant whisper on the wind. But I tell you, some truths are not merely forgotten. They are made to disappear. A deliberate act executed by unseen hands, acquired orchestration behind the thick tapestries and gilded screens of power. Here, in the Sultan's own chamber, one learns to discern the true architects of oblivion. Not always the Sultan himself, for even he is a puppet to the great machine of dynasty, but those who pull the strings in the shadows. Think of the harem, that labyrinth of silk and whispers, where beauty was a fleeting currency and a bloodline could be severed with a silent nod. Did you truly believe these queens, these mothers of princes, simply vanished into thin air, their stories dissolving into the ether? No, they were extinguished, each flame snuffed out with calculated precision. Imagine the desperation that clung to the air in those gilded cages. The hushed pleas, swallowed whole by the velvet drapes, never reaching beyond their prison. A woman, once showered with jewels and favor, now watched every shadow stretch, every smile twist into a potential omen. The proximity of danger was palpable, a chilling constant. A servant, once a trusted confidant, now held the power of life or death in her trembling hand. A dropped silk handkerchief, seemingly accidental, could be the silent signal for a deadly order. A cup of glistening sherbet, offered with a serene smile, might carry a secret within its sweet depths. A secret that would extinguish not just a life, but an entire bloodline, erasing a queen and her legacy from the annals of possibility. This was the game of queens, played not with armies but with poison and whispers, where loyalty was a fragile commodity. The trusted servant, the loyal guard, the favoured concubine, each could become an instrument of erasure, caught in the same ruthless web. Their choices were often no less agonizing than those of their victims. To refuse was to invite their own demise. To comply was to stain their souls with an indelible betrayal. And so, the moral ambiguity of survival permeated every corner, every breath taken within these walls. The silence that followed such acts was not peaceful. It was the oppressive quiet of a story forcefully ended, a history deliberately unwritten. A ghost created not by death alone, but by the cold, luxurious cruelty of power. You think silence is empty, a blank page where nothing was written. Oh, my dear, that is the gravest deception history ever played. For behind these pillars, in these very chambers, I have learned, the silence of a forgotten queen is never truly empty. It is a void, yes, but a void that echoes, a phantom limb that aches, reshaping the very bones of an empire. Every whisper suppressed, every name struck from the ledger, leaves not a void but a precise, invisible scar on the parchment of time. A dynasty's strength, you see, often gleams with the sheen of generations, yet rests on the rotten timber of a fundamental lie. A succession crisis, averted not by wisdom, but by a convenient death. A soft pillow pressed too long, a subtle poison slipped into the evening's wine. The tapestry of power, so meticulously woven with threads of glory and conquest, conceals the ragged edges where other lives, other destinies, were brutally shorn away. Consider the cultural memory, warped, subtly twisted. The very songs sung in the markets, the legends passed down by hearthlight, all rearranged to fit the victor's narrative. The shadow of what could have been stretches long across the centuries. A different queen, a different temperament, her counsel heard, her children thriving. Would the borders have expanded differently? Would peace have been chosen over war? We can only guess, haunted by the ghost of an alternative future. But what if, despite the fury of the erasure, despite the betrayal and the crushing weight of imperial decree, what if the silence failed to swallow everything? What if a whisper of a bloodline, a forgotten lineage survived, flowing through veins utterly unaware of the royal treason that birthed their freedom, carrying the unwritten legacy of defiance? A flicker of a forgotten queen's spirit, in a child's eyes, generations removed, poised to unknowingly challenge the very dynasty that wronged her. The silence itself, my dear listener, is not merely an absence of sound, it is a presence. It hovers, a shroud woven from suppressed truths, casting the longest shadow. It speaks volumes about what could have been, empires guided by different hands, histories sung by different voices. And so the tapestry of power, so carefully constructed, remains forever altered by the threads it sought to cut away. Always the echo. They tried to bury them, you know, to erase their very existence from the scrolls, from the memories of men. A convenient silence, yes, for those who wield the quill and the sword, but a silence that hums with secrets if one knows how to listen. I've learned that watching from these shadows. For even when the pyre of memory is lit, a single ember can cling to the deepest ash. And these women, these queens they sought to forget, were not so easily extinguished. Do you believe a soul once so fierce can vanish without a trace? I tell you, no, for even in the deepest shadow, a glimmer persists. Look closely, not in the grand chronicles penned by victors, but in the forgotten corners. A hidden embroidery, perhaps, a motif, innocent to the casual eye, woven into fine silk, but a coded map of loyalty for those who knew its true language. A whisper of a bloodline, a silent refusal to yield, stitched into the very fabric of their world. A coded letter then, sewn into the very hem of a travelling gown, its delicate thread a testament to a final desperate defiance against betrayal. Carried across borders, a single potent seed of truth ready to bloom in foreign soil, even as the shadow of poison loomed over their dynasty. Or a name scratched into the unseen stone of a palace wall, hidden by the relentless shadow of centuries. A silent scream against the poison of oblivion, a testament etched where no man would dare to look, a permanent mark against a temporary decree, and a poem, passed from mother to daughter, disguised as a lullaby, a melody carrying not sleep, but the burning memory of a queen denied her rightful dynasty. These were their weapons, you see, not swords but threads, not armies but words, not empires but an unyielding spirit. And so the past remains, fragments, whispers, a delicate trail for those with the eyes to see and the patience to listen. For the truth, like water, always finds a way. It carves new paths, bypassing the dams of deceit, flowing around the grand monuments of lies. And even the stones, my friend, the very stones of this palace, they remember what men conspire to forget. They remember the queens, and their names, once buried, now yearn to breathe again. A dynasty of forgotten souls, calling out from the depths of time, demanding an audience. A quest, you see, that demands eternal vigilance. For the flame, once lit, cannot truly die. It simply waits for the next wind to fan its embers.